Hey everybody, welcome to What's the Function. I'm your host, John Firth, and today I'm joined by Mr. Michael Lazich.
What's going on, everybody?
So, recently, we got to do something pretty cool.
Very cool.
We got to do something that I don't think many other MSPs do, for sure. And I haven't seen many partners do it. And, I wanted to talk about it, and that was a hackathon.
Indeed.
So, internally, we've done a little hacking before, right? We've come together. We did our FSI summit last year where we took our engineers from all over and we brought them together and we're like, here's our key problems, let's fix them. So we have some experience doing that. But this time we worked with a local nonprofit that helps upskill students of all ages directly out of college all the way through advanced learners like ourselves. And they teach them to code. And then we worked with our own interns here at FSI Strategies in partnership with the Innovation Hub in Arlington.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty good turnout. We had like 7 people every day. Some come, some go. But overall, it was really cool. And what we got out of it is a lot of new ideas, I think.
Yeah, I would say we got a lot of new ideas. Definitely new perspective on what you can do with AI in the Microsoft stack. Looking at the business side of things and how businesses would leverage AI to take that same platform and transform it into something that can be fun, something that can be palatable, especially for the younger generation, not being really introduced or exposed to these different Microsoft technologies. It was a really fun and interesting way to kind of showcase what's possible.
Yeah, so for the general audience who hasn't seen our post or anything like that or hasn't got to see what we built Jeopardy! And, everybody kind of looked at me funny when I brought this up. I was like, let's build Jeopardy! That seems like a good use of AI, which it probably is not. Like, that's a lot of electricity that we're using and a lot of compute and everything else.
And a lot of AI credits.
We found out a lot of AI credits. We're really sorry, guys, over at the Innovation Hub. We burned a lot of credits. That being said, yes, it burns a lot of compute, and yes, it burns a lot of credits, but it also shows just how powerful the Microsoft stack is. And we keep saying the Microsoft stack, and I want to break that down. The Microsoft stack has many components, right? You hear Microsoft Cloud, which is going to be used kind of in concert. We'll say one or the other. But we're talking about Power Platform, we're talking about M365, we're talking about Azure AI, and Azure in general. You can leverage other things like functions and logic apps and a lot of cool things that, it's really a world of possibilities. But for this, we really focused on 2 core pieces, which were Microsoft 365 and Power Platform, which, both of us were kind of as deep as you can go in those topics. I mean, I don't... we've been doing this for a long time between the two of us. I think we've done way too much work in both of those sectors, but Power Platform has been something that you and I have been working on for years now.
Yeah. Since Canvas apps first came out.
Yeah. Since Canvas apps first came out, and a lot of heartache, a lot of problems, a lot of experimentation, but I think that's what made it good for us to lead this, because we were able to communicate a kind of a more conceptual style. Some of our students, they never touched a low-code platform before. So it was a little weird to them to be like, I drag and drop this box, or, this is how PowerFX works. So it gave them the ability to use a new platform, but it also showed how powerful low-code can be, because in 2 days...
Yeah. Day and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, because the first day, we did a whole bunch of like education for the first half, and just kind of getting everybody's,
feet wet.
Yeah, what is AI? How do you use Copilot? What are personas?
What's a Canvas app?
What is a Canvas app? What is a workflow? Very basics. But even with that included, so even if you include all of the education and the sit downs and the lunch breaks and the hanging out and everything else we did, in 2 days, 7 people who would never touched this platform before were able to generate an actual Jeopardy game that worked, asked questions, and got answers. Now, was it the most beautiful thing in the world? No. Was it functional? Yeah. And it was functional in a lot of ways that we actually learned from because there are certain things that you're just like, oh, I wouldn't do it that way, but that's really interesting. And I don't know. I had a ball doing it.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I wish we do more of them. Hopefully we get the opportunity to do more of them.
Yeah, I think that is something that we're going to do more of, is really look to how we can, engage with not only the Microsoft community, which we're pretty tight-knit with, but also beyond that into our local community and be able to offer up these events. I mean, the idea here was we showed a brand new platform. We showed AI, generative AI, which is, pretty still new. I mean, we're a year into generative AI becoming a really big thing. And how to stitch each of those pieces together so that, yes, you have an application, but that application needs to call a workflow, and then that workflow needs to reach out to the AI service. And then what do you do with that when it returns?
There goes the mouse.
There goes the mouse. But it was very cool. I really liked it. I mean, are there any cool takeaways that you got from it? So just for everybody knows, if you see it, Mike designed our kind of final product of this app before we turned it over to Microsoft to start using for demos.
In about 8 hours.
Yeah. It wasn't, I mean, not too bad, right? Like, yeah, I mean, is there anything cool you learned or any key takeaways?
I mean, the whole idea is cool, right? I would say key takeaways is the ability and the power behind Canvas apps from when it first launched to now is just there's no comparison. Like it's gone from something where you are very restricted into what you can do in terms of the low code platform in what's available in a Canvas app to creating things that are almost, if not like full production ready, like scalable applications.
It is kind of, yeah, it's nuts. And I didn't realize that some of those functions were there until we started doing this hack, until I started working with Anthony, our intern, who did the very first pass through on this when it was still just an idea in my head, and he was doing the POC, and he would come to me and be like, "Hey, how do I do this?" And I don't know. Let's look into it together, right? And that led me to see a whole bunch of things like being able to call AI directly in line. That was something I never used before.
Yeah, I mean, to extend on that, right? Like, when we talked about handling processes within an app, typically we're talking about throwing that request off to a Power Automate task or some function or something, some other workload to process that. But a lot of the stuff is brought back into the app either through PowerFX or being able to call your Power Automate flows directly within the app.
Yeah.
So there is no the lag time, I guess, really is what we're getting down to. The lag time of sending the request, receiving the request, parsing the request is all just cut down significantly.
And we don't have to do weird things.
Yeah, exactly.
So like in the early days, for those who don't know, we used to have to do a lot of weird workarounds, like hidden boxes, and like, if this box does this, then send a workflow to here, or, wait until this happens to trigger it, or, they'd have to press save. Like, I remember that was a big thing in Canvas apps, is like something wouldn't trigger until they press save, and then that had to save to the database, and then after it saved to the database, then it would trigger it. Now we can do that all in line with PowerFX. You don't even have to send it to Power Automate.
Exactly.
That was great. I mean, that was a really cool, like, wow, they've invested a lot into this platform to make it robust. And even us who are in it all the time, I mean, most of our work, to be candid, is model driven. We're much more model data driven. And then if you want it to look pretty, then, just pull reports out of Power BI. So, we're engineers. At the end of the day, we it doesn't need to look, it's a form. It's a form. Yeah.
I want my stuff to work.
Make it work, then make it pretty, right? Exactly. So, it was great to see that built directly into it. And even some of like the custom CSS and things like that.
So much you can do with that. I mean, for me, I'm not a code first developer. I'm a code second developer. So I like to make it work, then codify it. But all the things you can do with CSS in Canvas apps is just crazy to me.
You can, I mean, the components and everything that are out there as well.
Yeah.
Even if you're not someone who can write code, and I use code very lightly there, so please don't kill me in the comments. Even if you're something that doesn't write HTML or CSS or something like that, there's still so many great components that people have built that you can bring into your own Canvas app just by going onto GitHub and looking. And, you know, make sure you know who you're downloading from. Make sure you know what you're installing. Make sure that the component is safe. That being said, there's an entire component store.
And don't do it in a prod environment.
Don't do it in a prod environment. You heard it here first. So there's a lot of components out there that you can get. There's a lot of things. Now, one other thing that I want to talk about, which is something that we did for this project, and I really liked it, and I want to push it, but making a solution package right away so that we could run it in a tight little ship.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. But there are some like little gotchas that I found, which I was going to bring up to you on this podcast, and you don't know about it. So one of the gotchas I found is it defaults to the old Power Automate experience if you open it from a solution versus if you go through Power Automate and open it that way.
You talking about the new designer view?
Yeah. So the new designer view is triggered by the Power Automate portal, not by going through a solution, which I found to be very interesting and frustrating because there was no little tab on the top. So it depended on how I was going to go in.
Yeah. See, I typically always work out a solution, so I'm always looking
Yeah, so you haven't seen you're not seeing the new view all the time, which was a little frustrating, but not that bad. It only gets frustrating when I got a lot going on, which is sometimes.
You're only the CTO.
Yeah, no biggie. The other thing that I really was like gotcha about was when I went to export it, or when you went to export it. If you have security controls on the other side or security controls on your side, it makes it a good time. And by a good time, I mean not a fun time. So I think that you had to remove some stuff, right? Like, wasn't there?
So it was weird. So even though the whole package was built, or everything we did for this solution was built within the solution. All the flows we built in the solution, the Canvas app we built in the solution, the tables we linked and built in the solution.
Yeah, everything is solution focused here.
Yes,
in net new solution. I wanna put that out there. Net new. I mean, this is a dead environment. There's nothing in this environment. It is brand new.
Yeah. So we built this package, sent it off, thinking it was going to be gravy, and we were like, when Microsoft tried to upload it, it was like, hey, this isn't working. We were like, well, why not? So we started looking at it, and even though we built everything into the solution from get-go, nothing outside the solution was ever done. There were still dependencies outside the solution that we had to bring in to our solution for it to upload into a new environment.
Yeah. Even though those two environments should have been the same, right? So what can happen is if there's something in the default config and that's referenced anywhere in the solution, even if it's not quite referenced, but just kind of referenced, aka you brought in a table, but you didn't bring in a table that table referenced or something, that's where we can see issues, right? And I wanted to bring that up. If you're having trouble with your solutions, I think you just need to read the error codes, and they kind of tell you what's going on.
I would, if you're looking to package your solution and export it to a new environment, new tenant, whatever, definitely run Solutions Checker. That's going to be your first point. In our case, Solutions Checker said we were good to go.
Yeah.
So I just happened to when I went to package solutions, say include all dependencies, and then it pulled everything in.
Yeah.
But yeah, super weird that it wouldn't have all the dependencies in the solution to begin with.
Yeah, of a net new solution, net new database, there shouldn't be any dependencies. But that just goes to show, do your due diligence. Yeah. And even when you are a professional and you've been doing this for literally
There's always
years,
gonna be something you don't know.
there will be something you don't know. And just bear with it. Like there are things that you don't know, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like and with this hackathon, we figured out a lot, and our students figured out a lot, and our colleagues over at Microsoft, they learned a lot, and we all just had a great collaborative workspace. And that was another great feature that we were able to turn on. You have to turn it on. Was collaborative Canvas app.
Yes, that was amazing to see live when you have, we had 7 or so participants the first day. I think the second day we actually had more than 7, but to see everybody in the same app contributing to their own little pieces in their own ways, sometimes collaborating on the same thing in real time was pretty cool to see. I mean, I think anybody, whether you're a code first or low code developer, can appreciate that kind of collaboration.
It was awesome. And like coming from a traditional pro code, whatever code first development background, I'm used to collaboration. Like I'm used to, GitHub and being able to merge things in and pull when I need to. But that would be really hard to explain to a bunch of students who had never used this type of stuff before. And being able to just to click one button, it turned on collaboration, and they broke down into sprints without even realizing it, which was hilarious. So like one person was like, I'm going to take the login page. And one person was like, I'm going to take the game board. And one person was like, I'm going to handle the workflow.
Yep.
And they were all able to work together simultaneously, same solution. In this case, same Canvas app, same page, right? And they're able to be doing all of this at the same time. And it was awesome to see. Yeah. And it really made me realize what was missing before. And I didn't ever think it was missing because of kind of the background I come from, where it's like, okay, push, wait, pull, wait, push, wait. This was like in real time. I'm watching somebody move a box across the screen. Yep. It really opened my eyes to how much further we're going to be able to push this technology when it comes to working together, and how you might be able to have somebody that, they're code first and they do the CSS on a low code app. But the basis, I think, could still be low code, which there's so many doors and avenues to go through there. But I'm excited. Another
side to that, right, is not even just the collaboration component where you have all these developers and people working together, but even from a technical skilling point, you have the ability to have somebody that is proficient in the platform teach somebody in real time how to do things within the same platform, same workspace.
Yeah.
There's no more of, hey, here's a video to go watch to
or
do this.
Sit behind me and I'm going to do this. Or you drive. The amount of times that even we've done this, you drive, right? Like
the shoulder surfing days, I think, are over.
Folks. Yeah. I mean, it really makes it a lot easier because it's like, join this app, sit here, we'll work together.
Yeah. Right?
Like there's no more of this, you have to be, they can drive too. We can both drive the car at the same time in this case.
Yeah.
It's great work. Great event. And, like you said, I hope that we do more of them. I'm very excited to continue these really fun hackathons and some of the other events like the road shows that we've done. I know that you and a couple of team members are going to all be at Ignite. So we're looking forward to that coming up, and we're looking forward to, meeting people that are there, as well as, maybe in future doing some of these hackathons at other events. I think that's like the next logical step for these, is to start hosting these. So if you do have questions or anything like that, anybody can reach out to us. We've actually come up with a guide. This is going to go into the community. We're waiting to give it out fully, but we are going to be working with the community to help, push more of these events to really get low code moving forward a bit faster.
Yeah, and if you are at Ignite, I will be there helping out with a few of the labs, so check us out and feel free to connect and join our labs.
Well, thanks for joining me again, Mike, and I look forward to working with you on more fun things.
Always.